Yeah,
What's up with it?
man. What a week, what a week, what a week. But you
It's
know
just
what?
hard.
Yeah, I know. And that's what I'm saying. That's
It's
the crazy
already a
part.
crazy week.
It's
Okay.
already popping. But
Okay,
you know what I'm
okay.
saying? We here. It's gonna be an amazing night. We got an
Yeah.
amazing topic that we're talking about for tonight,
Yeah.
next week, and the week after that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so
Y'all know what
you
we
gotta stay tuned 3
yeah,
times. You can't miss
yeah. You
any
gotta
part of it.
it's a trilogy, right? Just like when you go to see Star Wars or when you go to see anything that says trilogy, you want to see all three parts to make it make sense,
You gotta
right?
say that again.
Now,
All of your, what is that, Midwest? Say Star Wars again.
Star Wars.
You said it a little bit more. You heard it now, Biggie. It was Star Wars.
yeah.
Star
He
Wars.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
You gotta understand that's
Oh
that's
yeah,
the country,
I mean,
the
I
country
made it.
that
I
came out.
made it. No, I made it sound like that. Yeah, no, I just was putting
Hey,
inflection on
listen,
it.
for the record, usually most trilogies are whack movie wise, but this ain't gonna be whack.
I wouldn't say that. We're gonna disagree
yeah,
off top.
we can't
Yeah,
say that.
because I can't say that because I done seen some trilogies that's been dope. It just
I mean,
depends on what you like, what
Rocky
you're looking
did
for.
too much.
That's your opinion. I love Rocky. I love
Right.
all
I
of
mean,
them. You know what I'm saying?
Drago and Clubber Lang, fire.
Yeah, you said the trilogies. The first three was fire. And then when you start getting to a Rocky 5,
Right.
then okay, I get it. But the first
Yeah.
three, fire.
Okay, I give it
Exactly.
to you. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, their trilogy was fire. Okay, I give it to
And
you.
then
I
you go
mean,
beyond that.
real boxing is kind of nowadays a trilogy isn't what it used to be, right? Because now it's more about entertainment than
Right.
the true craftsman of it, you know, craftsmanship of the game of boxing. And with music too, when you have some people that put a lot of music out and it's, you know, it's lackluster. It's just a bunch
I
of music.
mean, a song and then a remix is usually pretty dope. When you try to, has anybody ever tried to run a third song off of a song?
So
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
done 3 versions. They
Pete-
they don't call it but they have done like Chris Brown has done the East Coast, West Coast.
P.
then
Diddy did it.
They done done different versions of the same song before.
He did it
All right.
with what is the song? I Need a Girl. There's 3 different versions of that song.
Yeah.
And he had 2 on one album. He had 2 different versions on one album.
Just
Yeah.
putting anything. Okay, I see.
I mean, but all 3 versions fire though. So
I mean, is that the song? I need a girl to be
Yeah,
my
no,
wife.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay,
I'm
yeah. That's
gonna
what it's
I'm gonna give everybody a fair warning. There will be some terrible singing and some ad-libbing today on today's episode because
I
we are
got vocals, man.
yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, we've heard your vocals before, sir. So this
I'm
is what we're
telling you.
talking about today. Episode 147, the Get Down. We call it the Get Down because we're
Get
talking about the
down on it.
70s and the 80s, right? So that was the lingo then. Get down.
Yeah.
The music trilogy, and we call it the music trilogy because this is 3 parts. This is part 1, right? So
Yeah.
next week we'll be talking about the 90s, and then the week after that we'll be talking about 2000 and beyond. So we got
We're gonna break into hip hop on the 20s, or are we including some hip hop in?
well,
the
we
90s?
including it's music in general, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever you like, like. That's what we're talking about. But for me, for the most part, like in the 90s, it's hip hop, R&B.
Okay.
You know what I'm
All right,
saying?
sure.
Like I was never a country guy. There was some rock songs here and there that I like, but primarily I'm listening to, you know what I'm saying, hip hop, R&B. But tonight we're talking about the 70s and the 80s, right?
Right.
So the 70s and the 80s were essential for us. And Trisha Michelle was quick to point out she was not born
then. Wow.
in the 70s, and I wasn't either.
I'm the oldest on this show.
Facts.
You was born
Facts.
in the 70s, Benji?
Benji's the 70s baby.
I'm the 70s baby. 78.
So I wasn't born to 80.
Folks.
Yep. I was born in 80. So I mean,
Oh, look at
yeah.
the two young bucks on the set.
Yeah,
I said,
I'm the youngest on. I was towards the last couple years of the '80s, so
Yeah. Yeah.
oh,
I had to
okay,
dig deep
okay.
within my siblings
You
Yeah.
had the,
and
okay.
and my memories of a young buck.
Yeah. So Trish
Oh.
Michelle had to do her Googles. She had to do her research. Since she had to do her research. But that's what's cool about this topic is, I know Benji thinks we're gonna have the same music, what I'm saying,
Yeah,
taste, but I beg to differ. I mean, there's gonna be some stuff that we mentioned that everybody's gonna be like, okay, I remember that,
Right.
but I
right,
doubt,
right.
very seriously doubt, we have a top 5 albums from the 80s and the 90s. These are our list, people. These are not Billboard. These are not your
Yeah,
list. These are not your mama's list, your daddy's list. These are our list
Music that we actually
that we
like,
like.
that
So
we liked, whether album,
right.
song, the whole, yeah.
yeah,
So that's what we're going. That's how we rock.
so that's what we doing. So all
Yeah,
right,
it's
so
gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
we
interesting.
we already got people in the audience acting up. We got Brandon Freeman. He's like, damn, all y'all old. Well,
First of all,
Brandon Freeman, I know him personally. Shout out to my guy. He old too, so trust me, he understands.
Usually
I
old
was about
folks
to say
like to
like,
mess with other folks. Yeah, it's all
hold
right.
on,
Listen, at 45, I know I don't look it, so I'm good.
and watch me be younger than him still.
Yeah, no, you're definitely younger than Brandon. so,
Ah,
so
see, look
yeah,
at him.
yeah,
See,
yeah.
you already been kicked out. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? You in the old folk club because we got a youngin on the set. I'm just saying.
All right, so we want to start out. I got questions. I got some stuff lined up. So I want to start out by asking this question. Right? How do you feel music from the 70s and 80s impacted your life as a kid and now as an adult, Trish Michelle? We're gonna start with the
Uh,
lady of the house. How do you feel like the 70s and 80s music impacted you?
One thing that I can speak to is just for me, music is big or was really, really big in my family. So, like my grandmother, she taught music and played piano and taught me piano, and my uncle played guitar, and so it was always around. And then my dad, growing up, he he listened to all the oldies. Like he had all the little I was albums, and then it went from CDs and whatever else they used back then. But anything that we did was incorporated with like if he was cooking, barbecuing, or just around the house, he's listening to music, he's singing. My dad could hold a note, so like I'm used to like hearing him sing, and then he would sing with my brother, he would sing with me, sing with my sister. So it's just something that I'm used to as like family gathering, is us all singing and coming together through music. So music is one thing that my family all kind of like comes together on. So that, and then just as music itself, like I look for certain things in the 70s and 80s when it comes to like actual true instruments, hearing them. Like if I hear
Mhm.
a song now, like some things like Summer Walker does, you can hear the actual instruments, or who is it? Bruno Mars, where you hear the real band playing and stuff. Like those songs catch me. Like I like to hear the real band and instrumentals playing when I listen to music because I'm used to that.
Right.
So those are big influences on me.
Okay. Same question for you, Benji. How do you feel about the music from the 70s and 80s? Since you actually grew up in the 70s and
Yeah,
it
look,
impacted your life as a kid and now as an adult.
Listen, back. So you got to understand. I love words. So to me, music back then, what was being written, you can tell our folks were, like putting time into their craft and their music, but it was always the words for me. So if I'm listening to a song, like, of course, the music, popping off the top, but then I'm being captured by, what I'm saying, the words. What is the artist actually saying in the music? Because that's always important to me. So I'm listening to a song and it's got, what I'm saying, solid lyrics in it. That always, even as a kid, that captured me. So if I'm listening, whether my folks are listening to Teddy Pendergrass, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, whatever it was, like I used to sneak because my mom, we used to live out in Pleasant Grove. As a little kid, they used to always have parties at the house. My mom was, the party lady. So of course, we couldn't, be around. But I was always hang out on the steps and just listen to the music. They playing. I ain't supposed to be down there. They smoking. They doing whatever they want to do. But I'm there because I want to hear the music. Because of course I ain't got no record player, none of that in my room or whatever. So I'd hang out on the middle of the steps and just listen to the music. And so that's kind of how I got in the groove of hearing the Gap Band and all of that kind of stuff. I didn't know who they was, but when I heard the song, and then you start hearing "This Is Ladies Night," like you start hearing all the music, I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I dig that. So I would always make the mental note, and whenever I heard the song again, that's when I would be like, yo, who is that? Or whatever, whatever, whatever. So like that was always my thing. And I loved music from the 70s and 80s because the words, like
Yeah.
they put time, it seemed like they were, I'll put it like this. They were literate. They could read, fam.
Say, man.
Hey,
All
I
right.
like that.
Well, for me, I've always been that kid who had a great imagination, right? So when I was listening to music, and still to this day, I'm a visual person. When I'm hearing
Right.
it, I'm visualizing what I'm hearing. And
Mhm.
a lot of music from back then, it puts you in in a space of you can like you said, when they were writing those lyrics, you can kind of imagine what they're talking about, or what the storyline, or
Yeah.
the love that they're talking about, because a lot of songs from back then in those eras, talked about love, so
Right.
everything was love, so you could kind of imagine it. So it was a feeling in that music, and I mean, to be cliche, like you felt it like when you heard it. So for me growing up, like I turned into the music I heard. For me, the first person I heard that really captured my ear, I turned into Michael Jackson. Like Michael
Right.
Jackson, like just spoke to me as a kid, because the first music from Michael Jackson I heard wasn't him in the 70s and 80s. It was him, Little Mike. It was
Mhm.
Jackson 5. It was, that era of music, which is a little bit before the 70s, late 60s, I'm saying,
67,
early
yeah.
70s. So it started to come in. But, I heard Little Mike. So I was like, well, they got a little boy singing. That's dope. You know what I'm saying? And then you see
Mhm.
the little dudes, you know what I'm saying, Little Mike on stage dancing with the dance move. So I'm like, I want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I want to do what he's doing. So, that's what, music brought to me at a young age. And now as an adult, like, I'm a music connoisseur. Like I really listen to music. Like Trish Michelle said, I listen to the chords in the music. I listen to the instruments that I can hear. I'm listening for the production. I'm
Right.
listening for
Right.
the production. Like
Right.
now, and production has taken over lyrics too. We're gonna
Yeah.
talk about that, because now production has come to the forefront, so much so that the producers actually have a tag at the beginning of the song when the
Yeah.
Yeah.
songs come on, to let you know who
And
produced
who
it.
produced it? Right.
When we were looking for who produced it, we had to go get the cover
Right.
of the album, of the
Look,
CD, of the
Right.
tape, to see who the producer was. Point blank, point in case. I got stuff right here. I got a Shaft album, a original print of Shaft album vinyl, right? And on the back, you know what I'm saying, you got stuff on the back that shows you who did what. So
Right.
that's what we were used to, right?
Yeah.
Just and music was more than just hearing it. It was an experience. You got an album cover, you got a CD cover, you got a tape cover, you got
mhm.
stuff in there, and it was a whole experience. Where now it's just kind of like hit a button, you hear it, it's kind of like, you
Mike
know,
Will made it.
Yeah.
you might listen to it once, and then it's like, you throw it
Yeah.
out it's gone. You never listen to it again. So a lot of this music now doesn't have the replayability that older music had.
Yeah. It doesn't have the
Timeless,
sustainability.
timeless music.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's because of the microwave society that has become what we live in, and things are produced so fast. So that means that something that was hot today ain't hot next week, and it
Right.
just it's like, what can you do for me now? You know what I'm
The
Yeah.
saying? So
times the time spent putting it together, I can imagine, because now everything is synthesized. Back then, you had to find a way to create the sound. So you put a little bit more time into it. Like you listening to dudes, we listen to watch these old movies, and dudes literally has got chains in there, like shaking them to get the sound on the board. Like it was way, way, way more time put into it. So
now
you
you
kind
hear
of felt it.
chains. You're changing
Yeah.
that now. You hear them with they 15 chains on and they
Yeah.
dancing and they
Right,
rapping. You hear the
right.
chains in the
Yeah.
background. So you still
Weighing
hear
that
some
neck
chains.
down.
Hubcaps. Dudes is tapping on hubcaps in the studio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know, like I said, I mean, it was a feel that
Right.
that music from those eras gave, and you know, when you call it soul music from the
Right.
70s, and we hear that, you know, referred to a lot, late 60s, 70s soul music, and we really felt it. We really felt like it's soul. You know what I'm saying? You could feel it in your soul, like it made you. I put it to you like this: some people have never experienced this. Have you ever listened to a song and it gave you goosebumps?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
Well, you
Yep.
saying of course, but there's a lot of people who I've asked and they've never had that
Never
feeling
felt.
before. They never
Really.
listened to a song that gave them
I
goosebumps.
Nah,
mean, you get
you're not listening to good music.
you for real because you get into a song, but it had the melody has to capture you, the words capture you. When you're listening, I think when you get the full production of it, like you get that the lyrics are dope, the music is super dope, the production, and then you get the melody. Like I'm a melody guy, so when you get the whole melody like and everything locked in, it's like you just kind of get in that thing. It just take you to a different place. So yeah, of course, yeah,
This is dope.
Then when you
Okay,
gotta run
so
it back, too, that's when you know. You're like, hold on.
oh yeah, definitely. Listen to it 2 or 3 times and sit with it a little bit. All right. Anthony
Oh,
Bradley says music instrumentation, live music, looking for the story and the instrumental vibe for the whole experience. That's
oh,
facts.
exactly what it
it's
is.
an experience.
That's
Yes, the
exactly
whole
what it
experience.
is. Exactly.
And don't hear that joint live because if the band is
Man,
sick, I mean, listen, it just it's a whole new thing. Listen, and Mike Jackson had folks falling out. You get what I'm saying? It's just different.
Ryan,
Ain't nobody falling out nowadays. I'm just saying.
You know, we
well,
have those conversations all the time when people are always compared to Michael Jackson and the fandom that followed Michael Jackson, and you
Right.
know they compare the likes of somebody like a Beyonce, or you know, back in those times they were like comparing Michael Jackson and Prince. But I tell people all the time there was a level of which Mike went to that everybody else has not gone to,
yeah,
like internationally, where this man not only had people collapsing and fainting here in the United States, he
Right.
go over to India and have people full of stadium full of people and them fainting, and then he go to Paris and have people over there in
right.
France
They faint
falling out.
worldwide.
Like everywhere he went, it was pandemonium. Literally,
Right.
every
Right.
single place he went, it was pandemonium. And I don't think we still haven't seen anything like that.
No.
So you know what I'm saying. So let's see. What do you feel like is the biggest difference between music in the 70s and 80s? I think we kind of hit on it a little bit, but I just want to ask you that direct question so you can speak to that direct thing, Trish Michelle.
I mean, like you said, we kind of did hit on it. It's really like the loves music, feeling it in your soul in the 70s. I think 80s for sure. What I want to say is we went into with the Dougie Fresh and getting more into hip hop, and then also like what did we get into? MTV, and
Right.
we wanted
Run
so that
DMC.
stuff. We went from Soul Train and going into MTV, and then we also went into them speaking into music and about the police and whatnot. So it was just a change and a shift in time and music representing us and speaking for us. So I would say that that's where it kind of took a shift itself. That's all I can say. Really,
Right.
really, that's all I can say. Yeah.
Okay. So Benji, how about you?
Self-esteem. Like I think music in the 70s really gave us folks a self-esteem because when you listen to the music it was so impactful. Like we had all Fight the Power, we had all different types of stuff, right? That was encouraging. We had self-destruction, like we had songs that were produced and put out there that kind of boosted the morale of us as a folks, right? And you didn't really get into the gang. I was looking the 80s. De La Soul was like had one of the top 17 albums, like hip hop. BDB, Boogie Down Productions was like tops in like the 80s. Like these were albums, and you know what they spitting, right? But overall, the music itself just had a self-esteem booster in it because it always kind of spoke something that was, like not transcendent, but everybody could hear it. It wasn't just you in your back room spitting it to your mom and your cousins. This is over the radio, and everybody is hearing, you know what I'm saying, a Public Enemy, and hearing all of these different collaborations. And to me, that was huge, because that era that we were making a statement back then to keep our self-esteem high through our music. So
okay, we got
Well, I
one
mean, another
comment.
big thing. Oh, go for it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, jumping into that, not only did that happen, but Michael Jackson made a huge statement when he did Thriller. So that was the change
Right.
of that. So jumping into
Right.
the Thriller era and his music video movie that
Right.
he, mini movie that he created. So that changed music and music videos as a whole entire thing, and set the bar there. So that was also a big statement that changed music.
Facts.
Thriller shook up the world, because
Facts.
Thriller was the first album where there was literally a video for every song he had on there.
Right.
No other artist was doing that at that time.
Right.
They weren't shooting a video for every single song on the album. That man got a song. He got a video for every song on that album. And we talking about in the 80s. We ain't talking about now. Now they do it, and it's it's something that you've seen Beyonce do, you've seen 50 Cent do, you've seen a few other artists do it, but this was in the 80s.
Right.
So,
mass production of like great stuff. Like, you watching Thriller, you're like, yo, like, this
top
is
quality, top notch.
You get what I'm saying? So yeah, it's just a whole representation that was there. That was
something else that's still timeless.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we got a comment here from Ascena Phoenix. Says both are great decades of music. The 70s music, however, was more natural, whereas the 80s music was more synthesized, the music than the 70s. The 80s was the beginning of more computerized music, and that's a great point to point out, because you started to hear more of, what I'm saying, quote unquote, the computer love. Like, that song still blows my mind though. For that song to be that, in the 80s,
transcendent,
before technology hit. And if you go back and you listen to Computer Love, you're like, man, this dude is talking about something like the AOL chat rooms or something like this, but this in the 80s, before all that stuff was even popping. So what the heck was he talking about? Because I don't know, man. Go listen to Computer Love tonight. That's part of your homework. Go listen to Computer Love and just listen to the lyrics. Listen to what this man is saying in this song, and look at the year.
Could it be
that
your
this song,
face I see on my computer screen?
Now, this is in the 80s. So go back and listen to the lyrics. Listen to what he's saying. Look at what year it came out, and you're gonna be baffled too. So somebody's gonna be able to school us on that. You know what I'm saying? At some point, I'm pretty sure you can check YouTube. Somebody's done an interview about it and talked about the background behind the lyrics.
DJ Quick did, because DJ Quick talks about it because he used to work with Roger Troutman, and plus he had him on his album when his album started to roll out. So like, they all, like Death Row and all of them, like they knew Roger Troutman. So for all of that, and Quick talks about it, how he actually went in the studio and how he saw Roger Troutman create Computer Love. And of course, Quick is into the production. So they all is sitting there like, what the heck is he doing? He got this thing in his mouth and he's making this sound. And it was crazy. But it just shows you how it advanced and how evolved these artists were, even in the 80s. So
yeah. And another good point that Anthony Bradley points out, and he says music created movements on so many different levels, backspan for the positive instead of promoting the negative. And the movement piece is so big because it was the soundtrack for movements. Like when you think about the 70s, you think about the Black Panthers, you think about a lot of different stuff that was going on back then, but there was also the music that was the backdrop for a lot of that stuff. So that's what we remember about the 70s. Well, what we have seen of the 70s, because I was not alive in the 70s.
The young bucks. Y'all
that same music is
I have seen
utilized
footage.
in a lot of movies.
I've seen footage.
Facts.
I've seen footage. So, but
To
yeah,
and for our folks to be able to create music and then to be able to put it in movies. I don't know if MJ kind of gave folks a feel for that, but I can't speak to that part. But to be able to have our own music represented in movies was
Yeah.
huge.
A
You
lot
get
of
what I'm
our
saying?
movies that we put out now that have to do with, Black Panthers and things that are coming out historically, they go back and they're utilizing all the songs in that era, the 70s and stuff that were, of course, in that time, and it's
yeah.
being utilized in the movies that we have now.
Right.
Yep. And you know what used to be big? We're gonna shift to our list in just a second. But what used to
Yeah.
be big is soundtracks, man. You know,
Yeah.
soundtracks used to be
Yeah.
huge, right? When a movie came out, you kind of really
Mhm.
wanted to hear the soundtrack more than you wanted to see the
Facts.
movie.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
Right. Yes.
so there was people who had songs that were on soundtracks that the song when it came out, it didn't grab, but when it was on that soundtrack, it grabbed.
It
And
pop.
then you
Yeah.
when it looked at when you looked at the inside the credits, you're like, man, this song came out 4 years ago. Or why haven't I heard it? But
Right.
it's been out there, but it just didn't grab you until you
Right.
saw it on that movie, or you saw that you heard it on that soundtrack. So
Facts.
now, I mean, a movie comes out, you don't even think about the soundtrack. I
I mean,
mean,
they kind of phased out a little bit, don't you think? I know they're still there,
it's an
but
afterthought.
I mean, they're there.
yeah,
It's just the desire to want to hear it, to want to listen to it. And
Yeah,
people aren't producing music like that either. But I mean, the only people that really put out soundtracks like that to certain movies is like Beyonce did Lion King. Um, some movies produce soundtracks to certain things. It's more like the kiddie movies,
right.
and
I
but
mean, we
it's not
did get
really.
one for the Black Panther
yeah.
movie.
TDE did Black
Yeah,
Panther.
Yeah, yeah.
Black
Yeah,
Panther. But yeah, that's
I
it.
can't even think. I can't even remember the last time I listened to a soundtrack
see, that's what I'm
from an
saying.
album.
The
Like
only
I know I listened to the one with Stars when the Black Panther came out.
that's TDE. Yep,
Yeah,
TDE did that.
and
Yep,
I'm trying to think if I listened to a soundtrack other than
it's been a
that.
minute.
After that, I can't even
It's
remember if
been a
I have.
minute, yeah. Because I mean,
Yeah,
they don't matter as much anymore,
Right,
right? Because I mean, I don't. I'm agreeing with Trisha Michelle. I mean, it has shifted where it's not important anymore, right?
right.
It's literally background music.
yeah,
It literally
Fact.
doesn't stand out because for me, some of the movies like Above the Rim. Above the
Oh yeah,
Rim is
that
an iconic
yes,
soundtrack
soundtrack.
where when
Yes,
you listening to that, when you listen to the music and you're looking at the movie and you hear the songs in the movie, you're jamming, you know what I'm saying? Like you bob your head every time another song comes on because you remember, hearing that song outside of the movie. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, before I saw Above the Rim, I had the soundtrack. I had the
right.
soundtrack
Yeah,
before I
yeah.
saw the
We
movie.
we
yeah.
went
That's
and
how you
copped the
know.
album
Yeah.
before we even watched the movie.
So
Yeah,
I had the soundtrack before I even saw the movie. So, and that's Menace to Society as well. My
right.
parents wouldn't let me see Menace to Society, but I had
But
the
we had that
soundtrack, and
track.
then I went to saw the movie.
And
So
listen, Boomerang, Johnny Gill killed. There you go. I'm just saying on that Boomerang
nah,
soundtrack. That's
Boomerang
all that John.
soundtrack solid too. A lot of those
Yeah,
soundtracks, especially from the late 80s, early 90s, became like monstrous, right?
right.
And Felicia Bynum's in the is in the chat, and she points out the 70s was the most popular for
That's right,
soundtracks.
mom.
Yeah.
Let them know.
And
Oh, that's what's
hey,
happening, Mom? What's happening?
hey, hey, this is it right here. This is
Yeah,
it. This
yeah.
is
A
it.
bad
Like,
mother.
Now,
like,
see, I remember Ice T's version. You know what I'm saying? I'm your mama, I'm your
nah,
daddy.
man.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, Shaft. She pointed out something amazing because Shaft was one of the first ones that I
Yeah,
remember that really just grabbed, and everybody knew that. Everybody knew that song, bro.
right.
Everybody knew that song. Everybody knew the cliche
Yeah.
sayings from Shaft.
Pusher Man.
So Curtis Mayfield
Yes, sir.
grabbed my attention with that music, and we'll get to that. But
We was that was just smooth music. You get what I'm saying? It was smooth.
yeah,
Just
hey,
smooth.
this is good. The comments are blowing up. All right. So on my square said the best soundtracks from the
But
70s and 80s, Superfly, Car
definitely.
Wash, The Wiz, The Last Dragon,
Oh yeah, the
all
Last Dragon, no doubt.
fire. All
No
Yeah.
doubt.
fire. the Wiz though,
Oh gosh,
The Wiz is a sleeper. The Wiz is a
Right,
Wiz
sleeper.
right.
is.
Like you
I
gotta
mean,
go.
MJ on it. I'm
You
just
gotta go
saying.
check it out. You know
The, some
anything Mike
people don't
touched.
even know what the Wiz is, and a lot of people right now, a lot of the younger, be like the
Yeah,
Wiz, the
Hey,
Wiz.
I
yes.
made sure my kids looked at the Wiz. My daughter absolutely loves it.
Right?
Right? She looked at
He's on down the road.
during the
Yeah.
Of
pandemic.
course, yeah.
I let her look at the Wizard of Oz, and then we backdoored with the Wiz, and she was like, "I like both, but the Wiz is like it has better energy to me.
You
It's
know, you
like
gotta keep
it's like
that.
more happy." I was like, "Okay,
Right.
okay." So you
Them,
felt
that's
that music,
classic stuff.
You
Right.
know that music put that little spark in you.
yeah.
Right. That's classic, man. And our kids could listen to a lot of the stuff on there. You know what I'm saying? So like that self-esteem stuff was being built in our kids, their parents, like that whole thing. It just kind of it was a whole different era of just us representing ourselves. And to me that was dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
think that's why we hold on to it so a lot too as well though, because we get to go back and look at where music kind of was, and I think that's timeless.
and I think the biggest thing to it before we shift is what we always say: what you lend your ear to is what you become,
Right,
right? What you intake, what you listen to on a daily basis. So what people were listening to back then was encouraging, was about
right,
love and those things. So that's what came out,
right.
right? So unfortunately, it took a turn with some of the music that began to come out later on because the content changed and people began to adapt to that. But we'll get
We'll
to
get
that
into that. Right, right.
next week when we
Mhm.
talk about the '90s when it took a little bit of that turn.
Because the
Um,
execs was like, yeah, no, like, yeah. This is a kind of political, but go read the Kerner report by Lyndon B. Johnson from the 60s leading into the 70s on how they wanted to change how music was being pushed out to us. That's another story, but yeah.
And of course,
all right, so we got list people. I gave the panel a task, right?
Uh-huh.
So we have a top 5 albums. Now these are our albums, people. These are
Mm-hmm.
not Billboard. These are not your albums. These are not your parents' albums. These are the albums that we like. Top 5 from each era. So we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
go with the '70s first. We want to start with your number 5 and work down to your number 1.
Mm-hmm.
So Benji, we want you to go first. Benji, talk to us. Give us your top 5, starting at 5.
Okay, first off, honorable mentions. I'm not putting Michael Jackson in there. I'm not putting Prince in there, and I'm not putting Whitney Houston in there.
Then the
They would take up
then the
the
list
whole
is
list.
whack. Then the
The
list is
list,
whack.
I'm telling you, you got some fire. Listen, because they would take up the whole thing. You know, Negroes,
he
that's
said,
what
then
we
the list
listen
is
to.
wet.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So, uh, first of all, honorable mention. I'm taking out of those because listen, if we went with Michael Jackson, all them, listen, Jackson 5 was still your whole list. Prince was still your whole list with it. So forget it. All right. So honorable mention, Ballroom Blitz by Sweet. See,
Okay.
now this is stuff. Ballroom Blitz, that album, I loved it. It's one of the albums I've kind of listened to over time, right? But if you just go listen to that album, Ballroom Blitz and this Ballroom Blitz,
Yeah, we don't.
Sweet,
Yeah,
the
we
group
don't need.
Sweet,
We don't need the singing.
honorable mention, okay? Uh,
We hear you.
number 5, Marvin Gaye's album with "Let's Get It On" and "What's Going On" it. Those to me were smooth. They were just smooth. Like
Okay.
Marvin Gaye was just. I mean, Marvin Gaye's Marvin Gaye. I
Yep.
mean, you go listen to any of his music, and yeah, the production, the band, the lyrics, the singing, the collaboration, all of that tops. Like, just can't fool with it. Stevie Wonder, his Superstition album, like you
Fire.
Stevie's been around so long, man. Like these 3 words, and he did the whole what's the not Boomerang, but I'm forgetting the name of the album. He wrote the whole album, and I didn't write it down, but I forgot it off the top of my head. I'll come back to that. Bob Marley's "No Woman, No Cry."
Okay.
I can't remember the first time I heard that song, but hearing that song, hearing that album for the first time, loved it. probably don't dislike not a song on the album. Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way. Now see,
What
because
number is
I
that?
grew up, this is
I
number
was really
two.
about to say, did he pass 5?
No,
He's already
no,
on
no,
the
no.
list.
What's going on? What's going on? And Let's Get It On the same album. So
Yeah.
Stevie Wonder, Superstition, No Woman, No Cry, Go Your Own Way, the Fleetwood Mac album,
So that's your
and
number two. That's your
that's my
number
number
two.
two, and
Okay.
Staying Alive, Bee Gees. See, I grew up listening, hearing all of that type of stuff being played while I was, you know what I'm saying, just, listening to my folks party. And
Okay.
that was my thing. Like I was like, oh, I dig that song. And plus, you know what I'm saying, I got a little white folk in my blood too. So, you know what I'm saying, that's another story. So
Yeah. See, like I told y'all earlier in the show, our lists are completely different because
you can go your own way.
I don't have
I'm
none of
just
that.
saying.
I don't
I'm just
have,
saying.
but maybe a couple of things that he just mentioned. But yeah, it's completely different. So, Chris Michelle, how about your list? What's your list?
All
What's
right,
your list
so
looking like?
my list is
That now,
research
FYI, that's from the 70s. That's 70s
and
list.
sibling influenced
Mm-hmm.
with a little trickle of me. It's mainly siblings. So if y'all listening, siblings, shout out to y'all because this is y'all. So this is their list, really. So for them, they got what we got here? Well, I do know. So Marvin Gaye, what's going on? The
Mhm.
album for sure. That's a lot of stuff that my dad would be singing and everything too when I was young. So I remember that. Pink Floyd, The Wall.
You got them in order, or you just giving us
Now.
5?
Oh, that's so yeah. I didn't put them from the hottest to the. I forgot about that part.
Okay, so
So,
it's
so
okay.
Marvin
So
Gaye was one.
tell us
Marvin Gaye would
your
be one.
4, and then give us your last one. Give us your best one at last.
Okay. So I'm gonna tell you 4. So Marvin Gaye, what's going on? Pink Floyd, The Wall, Led Zeppelin 4, Eagles, Hotel California, and I like
Hotel
that.
California is my jam.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I put Beatles, Let It Be. Beatles.
Yeah.
Of course.
Heck yeah.
Okay.
Me?
Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's. I told y'all these lists will be different.
They gonna
Right?
be different, but
Everybody
Beatles
list gonna
is
be different.
Drake
I was
just got
sure
us
we would
here
have
with
Marvin Gaye on there. I was sure.
Yeah.
You was wait, say that again?
I was sure Marvin Gaye would be
Marvin
on
Gaye
there.
was gonna be on the
I
list.
thought he said he was shook that I had Marvin Gaye on there. I was like,
Oh no.
I am
Nah.
black.
You grew up around music, so I knew he had to be in there. Our folks love some Marvin Gaye, bro.
Well,
my dad would literally sound just like him when he was singing. Like,
wow.
So he would just sing just like him. So yeah, I
feel you. I feel you. I feel both of you, both y'all's list, because I grew up listening to a lot of different music too, but they ain't speak to me though. You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't speak to me. You know what I'm saying?
Very
So I had to make
I'm
the
just
list
saying.
that spoke to me as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And it still resonates in me today. So my 5 is number 5. I have Diana and Marvin. It's an album from Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye that they did together. Fire album.
Nothing but the real thing.
If you never heard it, do your Googles.
Yeah.
Get your pen and paper out, people, and go check out some of these things that we're mentioning if you never heard them, because I promise you missing out if you don't. Okay.
Yeah, that's a for sure.
So go check it out. Go check it out. Diana and Marvin by Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
Number 4, I got Curtis. I ain't talking about Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent. I'm talking about Curtis Mayfield.
It's Curtis Mayfield. Yeah.
It's Curtis. It's an album called Curtis by Curtis Mayfield. Fire. A lot of music you hear on there is sampled today.
Yeah.
So, check that one out. Number 3 on the list, Let's Stay Together, Al Green.
Yeah. Oh, my dad would love your list.
Yeah. So, heavily influenced by my parents, of course. So that I had to have some Al Green on my list.
Right.
Number 2 is I Want You. I Want You by Marvin Gaye.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So this is not the album that a lot of people choose, but it's the album that spoke to me when I heard it.
Yeah.
Right.
That album, I could play that album from one all the way
to track. Yep.
Yeah,
track
yeah.
to track,
Not a
just let
skip.
it go.
Yes.
Yep, no
That's
skips.
a Sunday morning clean up the house album.
No skips. So you know what I'm saying, and that's one thing that's the criteria that I have for me and my list
Right.
is no skips. Right,
Yeah.
I can put these albums on and play them completely through, no
Okay.
skips. All right, so my number one is gonna be Mike. You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course, I knew it. I
Yeah.
knew it.
Mike's Off the Wall album was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And it was, I think, the first album that I really owned myself, that I begged my parents to buy. I think we found it like at a thrift store because, of course, it came out in the 70s. I wasn't born to the 80s, found it later,
Right.
but it's one of my
Dang.
favorite, it's one of my favorite songs,
Hold
right?
on. That's crazy. An MJ album at the thrift store?
Yeah, thrift stores,
That's crazy.
thrift
Somebody
store,
got rid of that album.
bruh, you got to remember. You got to
At the time,
remember.
thrift stores weren't like, you
Like,
know,
you got to remember, like, people, like, the albums were kind of, you know what I'm saying, passe in the 80s.
Right,
People had
right,
moved to 8 tracks, and then,
oh, that's true
and
too.
then, people were kind of moving away from the albums, from the actual vinyl. So
right.
a lot of people were getting rid of their vinyl. So,
That's
I was, a music head from early, so I
wanted
started
that vinyl.
collecting vinyl. Yeah. So I
Right.
Mhm.
started collecting the vinyl. So, but yeah, so Michael Jackson Off the Wall album is my number one
Ah,
from the 70s. So the next question up is your GOAT of the 70s. This is gonna be fun
Oh,
because because I know we don't all have the same one. If we do, that's gonna be a miracle. But we're gonna go
okay.
uh
So you
so
shoot yours
Patricia, hold
first,
on.
though.
Patricia, Patricia, I think it's your mom. Shout out to your mom, Felicia Bynum. She said y'all can't forget disco in the 70s. Mama Bynum, I ain't forget it. It just didn't
ain't,
speak to me.
she
I
ain't
heard it.
playing
I
with
don't
you.
know. I don't know a whole bunch of it.
I
Now
heard
I
it.
can't say Barry White was into disco back then.
Well, the
So
Bee
a lot of
Gees,
his
there was a
songs,
bunch of songs that I
yeah,
heard, but it just didn't speak to me, right?
right,
So it's not the fact that it wasn't good music. There was a lot of good music,
right.
across the board, but I had to make the top five list, and it's hard enough to make the top five list. And it was like, okay,
Facts.
this is what spoke to me. So, Mama, we ain't forget the disco, but the disco just wasn't speaking to me like
Well,
that.
I see. I can't dance, so you know what I'm saying. So I mean, I can salsa dance, but I can't. I see. I ain't doing all that stuff like Sherman Hemsley. I ain't doing all that. So I couldn't. I wasn't feeling it. So I'm
All right. So y'all say with the GOAT, y'all want me to go first?
Yeah.
go
Oh,
first. Yeah,
okay.
goat
This
of the
this
70s.
this easy work for me. Now, of course, people might disagree. That's cool. My GOAT of the 70s is Marvin Gaye, right?
Okay.
Simple. What's
That's
going
Okay.
great.
on? These albums, what's going on? Let's get it on. And I want you. Those three albums, the singles, the hits from all those three albums, fire. And that's not even his whole catalog from the 70s.
Right.
That's just those three albums. Like, if you go do your Googles and look at the work that he did just in the 70s,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's
Crazy.
crazy.
Right.
So I mean, all this stuff is debatable, of course, right?
Right.
But for me, Marvin Gaye is the end all to be all for the 70s for me. And it's something I can go to. And as Benji said, no skips. Just
Right.
Yeah.
just let it play.
That's crazy. I'll go second because I didn't think you was gonna choose the same one as me.
See?
So,
So you chose Marvin Gaye.
yeah.
Wow.
I
Shoulder.
just knew yours. I was like, I'm gonna let him go first because it's gonna be different. So I'm gonna let him go
Right.
first. Let me
Right.
just
Right.
say it. I was shocked.
Okay. So we got two for Marvin Gaye. Benji, we know you got something different. So talk to us.
It's got to be Michael Jackson. Listen, the Jackson 5 listen, the song, I don't care what I'm doing, I stop and listen to it like I never heard it before, is Working Day and Night. Jackson 5. Like, I
Okay.
could literally, and then Heartbreak Hotel, and then you go, Show Me, Let Me Show You the Way to Go. Like you just, that whole, yeah, I'm sorry. It just, I can listen to Working Day and Night on repeat all day. All
Now,
day.
I ain't gonna be too hard on Benji, but I'm gonna tell Benji to go do his Googles because some of that music you mentioning is spilling over into the 80s. You know what I'm
Now,
saying?
I literally took through and make sure I went through the
Wow.
70s. The Jackson 5 album came out in 79. The
Well,
Bee
you
Okay.
Gees
right there
album
with
came
over
out.
80s.
No, I'm talking about some of
I,
them songs. I'm not talking about the album. I'm talking about some of
I
them songs you listed.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through it right now. Superstition came out. That album came out in the 70s. Came out in 77. Bob Marley's album came out in 78.
Well, back
Like
on
you
the
could go
list,
through it, huh?
No. I'm not talking about your
that
list. I'm talking
list.
about the songs you just mentioned when you were talking about Michael Jackson. We ain't gonna dig
Oh,
deep into it.
that's on the Jackson 579 album.
Okay.
Yeah, that's on the
All right.
Jackson 5.
79,
Trust me. Trust me.
All right. All
Trust
right.
me. I
All right.
went through that thing.
All right. So we got the goats out the way.
Right.
All right. So now I need to know your favorite song of the 70s. You had one song that you could pick
Mm-hmm.
from the 70s. What's your favorite song? Trisha Michelle, what's your favorite song from the 70s?
oh, mine is what's going on.
Okay.
Hmm.
Don't pick. Don't pick. Can't. I
You,
mean,
you you go next. You go next. You go next, Ken.
oh, mine's is For the Love of You by the Isley Brothers. Right.
Oh.
So for me, like when I hear that song, I don't care where I'm at, I don't care what I'm doing. It's gonna strike a chord with me every time, and it makes me want to cut a step because I actually can dance. So it makes me want to dance wherever I am. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of my that I think that's my favorite song. When I hear that, it's just a different feeling for that song. So Benji,
Now here's the crazy part. I didn't put what my favorite song was from the 70s. That's crazy. I didn't do that one. But
Okay, top of the head, go.
if I'm gonna go off the top of my head, because I
well,
do
you already
have a
said
bunch
it.
of them. I mean, working day and night, but that
Yeah,
whole
that's true.
album, what's called now, if I from that 79 album, Let Me Show You the Way to Go. That's one of my favorites. But working day and night can win
Working
it
day and
every
night
day.
make you stop and dance, so that's the one. There you go.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'd pull that off easy.
Okay, okay, all right. So we're gonna shift to the 80s now. So we're
All
doing the
Hmm.
right.
same thing for the 80s. This is going to be interesting as well because this is I think, after hearing the 70s list, I'm sure this is going to be eclectic for us all because
Facts.
this is where I think music started to broaden, you know what I'm saying, and everybody's music taste really started to kind of,
Yeah.
broaden as well. So we're going to go Benji first. Benji, um tell us your top 5
Okay.
albums from the 80s.
Again, honorable mentions. I'm not putting Stevie Wonder in here. I'm not putting Tina Turner in here. And I'm not putting Tears for Fears in here, which used to sing the song Everybody Wants to Rule the World. I'm not putting those on there because I love that song. Everybody Wants to Rule the World. So from the 80s, I'm gonna give you my top 5, the ones I love the most. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rick Ashton. Song says, I'm never gonna give you up.
Yeah, get Rick rolled. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody's heard that.
listen, fire. Okay, dope. I always thought that this dude singing was Phil, but I love the song so much. It's called Holding Back the Years, but it's by the group Simply Red.
Okay.
And the album was dope. Like I always thought it was Phil Collins, but of course, yeah, totally different story. All right. Def Leppard's albums, which I loved, Pour Some Sugar on Me. Like I actually love that song, hearing that song. So I always love that and love that album. Earth, Wind and Fire, that September, the album with September on it. Love that. Plus, because I always liked their band. So I always thought their band was like super crazy, right?
Fire.
But my top like group band album I love from back then was Hall and Oates. It's crazy now because they're actually fighting over their music right now. It's weird after all this time,
That's so
but
funny. My brother and sister was just talking about that.
like
Yeah.
it's crazy to me.
Just talking
But
about
I love the one-on-one album. Well, one-on-one, I wanna play that game tonight. That was and Man Eater. Listen, she's a man eater. Like how them dudes came up with that for an album, for a song, it's bananas to me. How they gonna come up with a woman in the club or in the space? She's a man eater. You better be careful fooling with this woman because she's a man eater. Hall and Oates, take the cake anytime. Love their album. Love their album.
That's fire. Hall and Oates got music for days too. I mean, it's
Right.
just, it it's surprising when you hear certain people jamming Hall and Oates, and you're like, man, didn't think you
You
was
can
a Hall and Oates type of guy.
you can bump that. Listen, I can bump that in my ride when I'm just chilling with the sound system, and it's clean, it's crispy, it sounds good.
Yeah,
Just saying.
facts. Trisha Michelle, are you ready? Are
I'm
you
ready.
ready?
All right.
All
So my
right.
four and then my top. Um, we have. Who we got? Let me look at my list. Oh, Public Enemy, Takes a Nation,
Okay.
Mm.
Janet Control,
Ah,
Mm.
ah,
Whitney,
ah,
Prince, Purple Rain,
ah,
Top, Thriller, MJ.
the album's sick. Print. Oh man,
That's my
Prince
list.
and MJ. I couldn't even listen. I can't even put them on my list. I already told y'all from the beginning because yeah, they take up the whole. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, there's only a few different ones because there's a couple of them that she just mentioned that are definitely on my on my list too.
Right.
So it's consistent. My number 5 is shocker for a lot of people, but do your Googles and go listen to the album. Don't Be Cruel, Bobby Brown.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
Oh
got
yeah.
And don't be true.
six hit singles
Hey,
on that
6 hit
joint.
singles on that joint. Yeah.
6 hit
yeah.
I
singles on that
agree.
joint. All right. So number 4, I had to throw my boy James up in here.
James Brown.
Ladies love Cool James. You know what I'm saying? Walk with a Panther.
Yeah.
Walking with a Panther by LL Cool J is
Mm-hmm.
one of the first tapes that I ever owned.
Right.
Right. Got it from my cousin, jammed it every day, loved it. So if y'all not familiar with that album, if you go do your Googles and you listen to it, you be like, oh yeah, I remember all these songs. Yeah, facts.
Right.
Number 3 is another hip hop album that kind of changed the game for a lot of people, and introduced me to East Coast rap.
Mm-hmm.
Which was Paid in Full, Eric B
Okay.
and
There being
Rakim.
Rakim,
That
Yeah.
which
move,
started actually too, and like that album was sick. Yeah.
yeah. So the album is actually, it's iconic, and if you're a hip hop person, you've definitely heard it. Everybody's heard Paid in Full, but there
Yeah.
are 3 or 4 other hits on that album as well. So it's a very dope album. My top 2, Trish Michelle, I already said it. Number 2, coming in number 2, a lot of Prince fans we mad about that, but
Right.
coming in at number 2 is Purple Rain. Purple
Right.
Rain is just timeless, right? It came at a time in my life where I was really grasping music, you know what I'm saying, as a young buck, and listening to the lyrics a little bit. So it just stuck with me. And
Right.
I got the Purple Rain shirt on right now.
Hey.
What's the story behind that though?
Okay, so this Purple Rain shirt, Trisha Michelle says she also owns it. And
Absolutely.
it's a running joke with me in my family, in my household. I say this shirt, this Prince shirt, this Purple Rain shirt has the black community in the chokehold.
It does.
Because everywhere you go, somebody's gonna have this shirt on. If you go to a football game, somebody's gonna have this Purple Rain shirt on. Shout out to Walmart and Target for
I was just
carrying
about to
this
say
shirt.
Target and Walmart if you need one.
because Target and Walmart carried this shirt, everybody got it, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? Rocking, supporting Prince. You know what I'm saying? It's all love, but it's still funny because every single place we go, I'm like, somebody got this shirt on. All right. So my number 1 is probably my most favorite album. I have the album. I have multiple copies of it. I have copy in a frame as well. I have a poster of it still to this day in my man cave. I got Thriller.
Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you something. Thriller changed everything for me. The Girl Is Mine, Billie
Yeah.
Jean, Beat It, Want to Be Starting Something, Human Nature, Pretty Young Thing, and then of
Is there
course Thriller.
there's not a skip on that entire album?
None. And
No.
then, like we said, he got videos to go with every song. So,
Hey.
Right.
so it was crazy. It was the first time we ever saw anything like that, and it changed everything for me. So, you know what I'm saying. So I had to go with Thriller at number 1. So we got
Okay.
a lot of comments rolling in, and
Yeah. What they talk.
all right, Denicia Crutcher
That's
Lyons.
Denisha Crutcher Lyons. That's my older
Denisha.
sister.
All right, so she
My
said
sibling
Prince
in
was
the
the
house.
definition of talent and sex appeal. All right, so let's
Yeah,
talk about that for a second.
women food with Prince heavy.
But let's talk about there's 2 things for a second. Okay, we talk about Prince and his music, right? That
Mhm.
dude could play all the instruments, could
Yeah.
sing, could compose the music, and he was a one-man band. He's a one-stop shop. Even though he didn't do
Right.
it, he had a band and everything, but he could do everything. He was probably one of the most, if not the most talented musician, I think, from that era.
Yeah.
I mean, people, you can make an argument of it.
Ever.
So I think that's the difference between him and Mike to me. If you talk about, as far as musician, I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
going,
Prince
even
was
though Mike could
yeah.
play instruments too, and he could do a lot of stuff, but I think Prince got the edge on that. But I give Mike the edge when it comes to being an entertainer, to
Right.
getting in front of people and capturing a crowd, what I'm saying, of men, women, children, everybody at the same time. So
Yeah.
that's the difference between those two. But
Yeah.
man, Prince did absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And he also had, movies. And the crazy thing
Facts.
about it is he was not the most manly man. So that
Nope.
was
It wasn't. It just proved to you that, you get what I'm saying. And a lot of dudes hated on Prince because of how he, like, I ain't gonna even lie to you.
he
Back in
had
our
on
day,
blouses,
everybody
bro.
thought he was, everybody thought he was
It
fruity.
was literally the definition of what many at one point before now would be called, it was
Yeah.
metrosexual. Like
Bro,
he
Right.
he
wore
was
the
beyond
red
metrosexual.
boots and he
Yeah,
wore the
he had
blouses. He wore the chaps with the booty cheeks out. He wore
Butt out
like,
jeans in living color. Had fun with that. The butt out jeans. It was
bruh,
hilarious.
like he just did so much that was like, oh my God, he was the shock guy. He was
look,
gonna,
and
he
but
was,
did
Nobody
not care.
owned the Prince though. That
But
was the
had
beauty of it though.
the women going crazy
Right.
at the same time.
yeah,
Prince
yeah,
could
yeah,
do
yeah.
whatever he wanted to do because nobody owned him or his music or
Yeah.
anything associated with him. Prince was like, I own all my stuff, like all of it. Like my studios, my this, my that. Nobody could control Prince because he owned everything. He taught us like that's what you're supposed to
Fact.
do, and we looked
Fact.
at him funny for that. But I mean, he
Hey,
was
Prince
solid.
was something different and
Yeah, them
amazing
heels.
for him.
When I saw Prince in the hills first, I was like, wait a minute, what? Oh, okay, I'm confused. Because back then is what they called the androgynous era.
You're right.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like it was for us, especially during our time, on Earth, this was the first exposure to seeing people and you couldn't tell what they were. Right.
Yeah.
You look at somebody, that's what androgynous means, is you look at
Yeah.
them, you can't tell whether it's a man or a woman, and you're confused by it. So
Prince did not care.
dudes was, like Charlie Murphy said, the dudes was dressing like, what I'm saying, the finest chick in the club, and the finest chick in the club was feeling him.
Right.
And he dressed
Yeah,
like her.
exactly.
Hey, I know a whole bunch of women that when you ask them who their favorite artist was, it was Prince. And you'd look at him like, what? Prince. And then when you first got a glimpse of him, you're like, what is this dude doing? Because we come from manly, trying to be man, type household. And to see that was like a total shock. But
Yeah.
you couldn't deny that all the chicks, bro, Apollon, bro, don't even get me started at all the chicks we drooled over that was pulling up at Prince in videos and shows. It was ridiculous.
And he was only 5'2", bro. 5'2".
Right.
5'2", pulling everything. So
Pulling everything.
you know what? It's a fun.
He was 5'6" in heels.
I guess so. 4-inch heels. Okay. All right. Well, you know what?
Them guitar skills were ridiculous.
He
All
played
that.
with I believe, what is it, the backwards guitar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The
So
customized backwards guitar.
it's funny though, because and when I think about Prince, sadly, I don't think about Prince music. I think about Charlie Murphy's stories that he told on Dave Chappelle's show
The Waters
about
of
Prince.
Minnetonka.
Those are
And
hilarious.
him hooping and stuff like that. So, but I like the fact that Charlie Murphy told that story, because for us and our generation, I think that humanized Prince. Right? We didn't see him as the artist in that story. We saw him as just a guy.
We didn't know he could hoop, but he
Yeah.
was a hooper and he could ball, and he was actually starter on varsity and all of that. He was just a better freaking musician and singer and songwriter than he was a hooper. But he could hoop.
He made pancakes.
Yeah. I mean, how can you not make pancakes?
Charlie Murphy said he made pancakes.
I'm just
Some
saying.
damn good pancakes.
Would you like some
Purify
pancakes?
yourself in the waters of Minnetonka. I mean,
Game blouses.
blouses.
If you have not seen that, y'all need to go watch. Look, YouTube it.
Yeah,
Go watch
you definitely need to go
Yeah.
watch Chappelle's show
If you ain't never
episode.
seen it, you're missing
Chappelle
out.
Show, Charlie Murphy Prince episode. Go watch
Yeah,
it.
yeah. You Google it, it'll
Rest
pop
in
right
peace,
up. I
Charlie
guarantee
Murphy.
you. Facts. All right. So the go to the 80s. I don't even think this is a discussion, but we can have it.
We can have it.
We can have it. So I'm gonna go Benji first. So who's your go? Because I'm pretty sure me and Trisha Michelle got the same person, but Benji, who's your go to the 80s?
I'm gonna have to go with Prince because of my favorite song of his that I would literally put over most of anything. But I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Prince. I can't escape that.
Okay. I mean, that's very viable. Trisha Michelle, how about you?
So honorable mention is Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
but my goat has a sentimental value to it,
Okay.
which is Prince,
Prince,
because
right.
he reminds me of my uncle, and my uncle embodied a lot of characteristics which having to do with Prince musically. My uncle was a guitarist and performed a lot of Prince's music the same way Prince did. And then me growing up, I grew up, let me hear some Purple Rain, let me hear some Doves Cry, and I'm over here little, let me run Doves Cry again back, let me so for me, when I was younger, I did listen to more of Prince for me. So in my little time frame, Prince was that's my go. But Michael Jackson is, I mean, I can't take it that way from anybody. That's just what we all know. But at the end of the day, Prince, that's it for me, because that's just who it reminds me of all time. So my uncle is my goat when it comes to music and a musician, and so Prince is too.
And Prince's album actually charted higher than Michael Jackson's album, just as an FYI.
Yeah, at that time, it may have, but where is it at now?
I mean, hey.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
You gotta speak facts now.
I mean, hey, I'm just saying at that time, yeah. That
Michael Jackson's Thriller album is still on Billboard Top 200 today.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Now, didn't somebody knock him off of the? Remember they used to do Top 100, and he used to always be the #1 song every year at the end of the year. Is he still that?
I don't know, but I think as of today, he's still in the top 200. If he's not, he was there for, I know, at least I saw
almost all my life.
A graphic that said from the 80s when it came out until 2015.
Right.
So you're talking about decades. It was at the top. So that album Thriller, like we said, changed a lot, and that's my GOAT, MJ. I mean, I people who know me, you know who my go-to people are. And when we talk about the 90s next week, you don't even have to ask who my 90s is.
Gonna be
you know
easy,
Big
right?
Ben, it's easy. It's easy work, and I'll definitely be representing with my 90s. But we're gonna get to that when we get to that. But MJ is my GOAT across the board. I tell my kids all the time, we grew up in a time in the 80s and 90s where we were blessed to be around the great Mikes, as we call it. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, and Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's the golden era for us. You know what I'm saying? So, that's mainly why the 90s gets its own episode, because we got to take a deep dive into some things.
The 90s,
a lot. It's like the 90s.
Yeah, we might have to stretch that to give us a top 7 or something like that.
No, we gonna go 5. We gonna make it difficult for you.
Yeah, it's difficult because
it is.
We gonna make it
difficult. I was
difficult.
already kind of dabbling, and I was like, let me get out of there.
People in the audience, we want you all to create your top 5s too, because we want to see those, and we want to hear about those on the show, and we're gonna display them on the screen because we're interested to see the the list,
the music taste,
and the
eclectic
music taste.
I told them, I said next week is the 90s, and then after that's 2000. So y'all make y'all list.
Yeah, make y'all list so we can know about that, and post it on the site as well. You know what I'm saying? We posted on the 5 session pages. So you know what I'm saying, y'all chime in and let us know what y'all thinking. But the next thing up is your favorite song of the 80s.
Easy work.
Favorite song. Easy work. All right. So Benji, easy work. Talk to me.
Baby, I'm a Star by Prince.
Okay.
I can You can forget
No,
it.
we don't need
Yes.
you to sing it, so we good. We
Yeah.
good on that. Yeah.
Listen, I would say if I ever got a chance, you know how they do the walk up in baseball, and you get to do your, you know what I'm saying, come out to your song. I said if I ever made it to play baseball, that's the song I would play. Baby, I'm gonna start coming out. Like
Okay,
that's the
so
fact.
shout out to the crew. I'll be in Cali in February, and we're gonna all link up. Man, we gotta go do some karaoke because I gotta hear Benji do this.
Okay,
Okay.
listen. Now you're gonna prompt me. Okay, now so what? Okay, y'all know this. All right. So on the boat, we're gonna do the karaoke.
That's okay. Just he be like, hold on.
Yeah, just hold it. Just hold it.
All right, for
All
sure.
right. All
For
right,
sure.
Tristan
Just so
Michelle.
y'all know, you know what I'm saying. Y'all
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna,
yeah. We
I'm, gonna-
got
I'm
you.
gonna
We
make that
got
happen.
you. We got you. All right,
Yeah.
Tristan Michelle.
Oh,
80s.
Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. Okay. Can't go wrong with that. Um, I went weird, right?
Okay.
Because this song, I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Um, when we had a comment from the audience. I think it was Anthony mentioned it. But when songs begin to change and become more computerized,
Yeah.
then we had this song come out by Zap called Computer Love
Love. Yeah.
Hmm.
that changed the game because we hadn't heard anything like it before. And for me, it's still mind-boggling when I
Computer love.
hear the
No, we heard it
lyrics
already.
and and yeah, stop the singing. But yeah, when you hear the
Oh, hold on,
lyrics,
hold on, hold on. That's the same voice you did when we had an episode. You was like, you remember that?
nah, nah,
Yes. Yeah,
nah,
yes. That was
nah,
that was
nah.
yours was
This
He is
guy,
passionate about whatever he's talking about.
facts, facts. Yeah, but computer love changed the game for me, and it changed the game for the industry because for a period of time, Roger Troutman had the industry on a chokehold because
right.
everybody wanted that sound. Everybody was calling him up
Yeah.
because they wanted that flavor on their
On their
music.
album.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And even into the 90s when you had California Love is, a huge song, and
Yeah.
they had to go get Roger, you had to go get Roger Troutman to get on that thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's my favorite song of the 80s, Computer Love. All right.
No,
Okay.
that's not a bad pick though.
Nah, not at all.
That's a great pick. That's a great
Nah,
pick.
okay, okay, Trish Michelle's sister is giving us an honorable mention. Cyndi Lauper really rose up and shouted out that girl power. I
All
remember
right.
Cyndi Lauper. I just don't remember
Oh
the
yeah.
songs, right? I remember the name,
I
and I
remember
remember she
some of the
had some
songs, yeah.
hits, but I don't remember what she sang. So, don't
What?
hold it against
You
me.
don't remember Cindy?
I forgot
I
what's the name
remember
of the
Cyndi,
song.
but I don't remember the names of the songs.
Girls just want to have fun.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, okay,
Girls
yeah,
just
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
have fun.
Benji
Oh
remember
yeah,
that because he was singing it too. He was
Uh-huh.
dancing around
I
singing.
mean, you gotta understand, bro.
I
I
got a
grew
video of
up
my daughter
around
dancing to that.
predominantly women, so I was always around the boss chick, boss woman movement. You get what I'm saying? Like I saw that as a little boy. Like it wasn't no stranger to me. So I heard all the stuff that they played, like every day, all the time. So like, yeah, I got a great sense of like hearing all of these songs and like, who is that? Because her voice is totally different. You knew she
Yeah.
wasn't a Negro, and you hear the song, and it was just totally different. And then you see the video, and she's just wow, she's just
Just
you
popping
know,
all over the little stage with a little.
yeah, she can't dance. She just doing
No,
a
she just doing this.
you get what I'm saying?
You
And it
know,
Yeah.
was like, oh shoot.
old girl from The Last Dragon always reminded me of Cyndi Lauper. The guy, the goon, I forgot his name. The goon, Eddie Arcadian in The Last Dragon had a
Last Dragon, okay.
girlfriend, and the girlfriend in the movie reminded me of Cyndi Lauper. So that just always put me in the mind of Cyndi Lauper. You know what I'm
Now,
saying?
one person we did leave off is Madonna. I just want y'all to see. I just want
I
y'all to
didn't leave
know.
her off. I just
No,
wasn't never
my
feeling her music
It's
like
all
that.
right.
my siblings mentioned Cyndi Lauper. They mentioned Madonna. Who else they say? They had some stuff they was mentioning to me. But
Yeah.
I was like, okay, my list can't. We ain't going enough.
I can't put them in there
They
because you
had
know what I'm
they had
saying.
Elton John.
Yeah, I wasn't
Right.
listening
They
to none of that.
That's stuff that
See,
they
I
listen
grew up
to.
listening to
So,
that stuff.
Nah, my
but I
dad.
still had to keep it true to like some things that I still new. So I'm like, okay, I ain't listening to Elton John. So I
Nah,
can't
my
mention Elton
dad
John.
wasn't listening to no Elton John at all.
Yeah.
Elton who? Yeah, hey, you better listen to some Elton Jones.
Pops
You ain't
was a
listening to
truck
Elton
driver,
John.
so he had to have his favorite music on. I
Yeah,
guarantee
he
that.
had all that, but you know what I'm saying? He ain't listening to Elton John.
I'm not that
Shout out to OG. Shout out to my OG. He ain't listening to Elton John.
Like,
Please believe me. Please
yeah,
believe me.
but see,
Yeah.
I don't know if he was, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if he was suspect around that time. I don't know.
What you mean? He
I
been
mean,
that way. He said
He
that.
ain't what that nothing was undercover.
I don't know. I ain't follow him like that. You get what I'm saying? Like I
You
didn't
didn't
know.
have to.
Just like we were talking about, that was shocking to the audience. We talked about Little Richard, and we talked about it behind the scenes. I saw a video of them doing a documentary about Little Richard, and they were
Right.
talking about the song Tutti Frutti.
Right. And
And
it
the original lyrics of that song were not the song, was not
yeah.
the lyrics that we were singing, you know what I'm saying? Like as kids and stuff like that. Or when we heard it, it was a whole nother connotation to it. So yeah,
Right.
y'all gonna have to Google that yourself, because
yeah,
that's a
he
doozy.
was. Hey, he can't. Hey, Little Richard did come out and say he was, and then he changed. So I mean, hey, I don't know. Music was still fired up. So
Yeah, facts. All right, so we got somebody that mentioned. Okay, let's find this. Boom. This was fire. Okay,
Oh,
Patti
okay.
LaBelle.
Go on and hit the notes, Benji.
No. Don't do it.
Only you do. I'm just saying.
Don't do it.
Listen, I'm finna bring Lady up here, and she got vocals.
So
Wait,
Patti
y'all
LaBelle.
need a solo real quick.
No. So Patti LaBelle is quintessential 80s, right?
Yeah.
Because she used to come out in those dresses and the fan hair. Like
Yeah.
when you think of the 80s, like and you see her pictures from the 80s, she embodies the 80s perfectly.
I
From what
must
we
have
remember.
rehearsed my lines 1,000 times.
Fire.
Built up
That's
the
what I'm saying.
nerve. Trying
That's
to
what I'm saying.
find the word, like
The lyrics, bro. The lyrics.
See,
like
see, that's always captured me, because you listen to the song, like the production behind it dope, vocals dope, but then she's given like the words in it are like, yo, like, okay, all right, boom, bam. Like it
Right.
just hits you. And I mean, hey, what can we say? Patty should have been on one of our lists. I'm just saying, but you know, this was hard, y'all. I just want to try to know.
I mean, top 5, you know,
It's kinda
maybe if
tough.
we did
Okay. Would she have been in your top 10 though?
10, no, 20, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say not even. I don't think she would have been in my team.
Because you got to remember, like I said, for me, and shout out to my big sister. My big sister's almost 10 years older than me, so my music taste was also tailored by her. Excuse me, by her. So it was a mix of my parents and my older sister. So you know, so that's why on my list, especially with the 80s, you saw hip hop.
Right.
Because my sister was listening to hip hop. So but yeah, but like I said, I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these list people. I mean, there's a lot of music that people are listening in the audience. We got Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody, which is dope.
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle, New Attitude. I mean, there's a lot of dope music, but again, we listed the music based on what spoke to us as individuals. So, you know, we're not missing out on anybody on purposely or anything like that. It's just what spoke to us. So that's how we made our list. So when it
is crazy, because when you think of how there's so much good music out there that we grew up on or we listened to, like how you can go back and literally listen to all of that music and it still gives you, you know what I'm saying, like that same whole vibe it did when you first heard it.
Well, I'll say this.
Yeah.
We got a chance to enjoy music because it didn't come out in waves, right? It came out sporadically. You put a little bit of music out here, a little bit of music out here.
Right.
A little bit. It wasn't like we were flooded with it. So we were able to get it, sit with it, listen to it a couple of times, and then really enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And really, you know, take it in for what it was. Versus now, like new music
it all sounds
comes out.
the same nowadays.
Well, but new music comes out every freaking day.
Right.
Like
Yeah, there's
it's hard to keep up with it unless you
definitely an
have
OG.
a favorite artist that
Right.
you know, okay, you keep up with that they're coming out with stuff. Because for me, like if I go to Apple Music, dude, it's new music, it's new music every
Yeah.
day.
Right.
Yeah,
So, you know, some
I
days
can't
that's what I
keep up.
do. Go ahead, Trisha Michelle.
No, I said I can't keep up.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't even try
I
to
gave
keep up.
up. Yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
gave
I don't
up
even try to.
because I just go to Apple.
If I catch the album or the song later and I catch it and it's dope, I'll go check it out. But I don't even it like it's yeah, it's too much. And then to be honest, a lot of it is tailored the same. Like the rappers have somewhat of the same cadence. If it's an R&B, and even though that's kind of been phased out in mainstream, even though there's still a bunch of dope R&B
Well,
artists.
we gonna put a pin in that because we don't want to we don't want to get into that too early because we
Right.
definitely gonna talk about that
Yeah,
during our next couple of weeks of talking about
right.
the changes in music
As
because
we
it
Right.
definitely has changed tremendously, and even the way we consume music, the way music is made, everything about music has totally changed. So yeah, we're gonna get into all that. So we want to hop into the next question really quickly. All right. So, what's your favorite current or more recent song that utilizes a 70s and 80s song sample or piece of the chorus?
we gotta
It,
wait.
it,
We gotta skip because you skipped a current artist that we feel would be back in the 70s, 80s.
No. I put it in. I changed the order.
Oh,
I
oh,
changed the
I'm like,
order.
okay.
wait,
You
Okay.
see, yeah, I
wait.
changed the order because you're gonna see how it's going
Okay,
tie in
okay, okay.
together. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Wait, let me get my 80s.
favorite. Say it again, Ken. The favorite sample or what? What'd you say?
Yeah.
Oh,
What's a song, a recent song or current song
Mm-hmm.
that utilizes a song from the 70s and 80s as a sample, as a reference, or anything like that that you can recall?
West Side Gun. West Side Gun. Listen, I could go through his whole like catalog, but one of the ones like that's just killer for me is Vogue cover. Like it, yeah.
But what
Eh,
did you do your Googles?
I didn't Google it because no, he has a whole set of instrumentals on the whole thing.
Benji
And
Boy.
I should have pulled it up. Okay, my bad.
Yes, that
But he
was the
has the
reason why I
whole
asked you to do
thing.
it.
I don't know what you call.
All right, well,
I
I
can
got
pull
There
it up
was a
right now while y'all go through
there
y'all. Go
was a
ahead.
okay.
method to the
You
madness.
you pull
I
it
know.
up. I got answers.
Go
Go
ahead.
go ahead, Trisha
All right,
Michelle.
so I got two. Tupac Changes,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
which is what Bruce Hornsby from 1987,
Hmm.
and then Beyonce Before I Let Go, which is Maze's song Before I Let Go from 1981.
And people get. I'm telling you, I have played that. I play both versions when I do events because
Mhm.
people get pissed off when they hear Beyonce's "Before I Let You Go."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
And
don't like her
they don't
version.
like that version. I'm like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
play both versions.
you gotta hear. I like when they do they
When they
play the
mix it,
Maze first,
they blend it.
and then they
Yeah,
blend it, and then I'm
yeah.
like,
Right.
That's what I
hey,
started doing. That's
yeah,
exactly what I started doing to
yeah.
give everybody because the young people wanted to hear Beyonce's version and the OGs wanted to hear the OG version. So
Hmm.
now everybody's happy. So
You
Right.
get that blend.
we did that. So
Yeah.
those two are very dope.
All
Okay,
right.
so
All right. It's called Los Diamantes.
okay.
Vogue cover by West Side Gun. He samples the track from the group called Triunfo Los Diamantes. And that sample to me is sick. It's from a 1970s song by Los Diamantes. And that beat, that whole man, it's crazy. Of course, West Side Gun have been stuck on for like what? Since
Since the pandemic.
chokehold.
Yeah.
Chokehold. The boy
Yeah.
had your boy in the chokehold with all this music. So, but
Yep.
yeah, that one was one of my favorites. If I could pull that up.
Okay, so I went with hip hop too because of course I do a lot of production and have sampled some stuff
Mm-hmm.
and samples are huge, right? And there's a reason why I wanted to ask that question because right now in music and really for the past maybe I would say 15 years, hip hop has been sample heavy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? When Kanye came out, he was one of the first to really just get really deep in the bag of samples, right? And who came in, who was putting songs out back to back, and every song he was putting out had a sample, had a soul sample. So, but the song that I chose is called "The Secret Recipe." Is by Lil Yachty and J. Cole.
Mm-hmm.
If people listen to current rap right now, it's hot, it's trending because J. Cole left the earth on this verse. As he has been doing the past couple years. Every time he jumps on somebody's song, he
Yeah.
takes over. So if you're a J. Cole fan, you already know about this. If you're not a fan of hip hop, it probably doesn't mean a thing to you, but this is the song I chose. And I chose it because when I saw the sample, the sample was very interesting. So it samples a song called "We Need We"
Mm-hmm.
by a group called Manchild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the interesting thing about this group called Manchild is, guess who's the lead singer in Manchild?
Never heard of him.
Man,
Yeah.
nobody ever heard of the group Manchild, right? Guess who's the
Mm-mm.
lead singer?
Cool.
Babyface.
Oh shoot.
Yes. So this is in
Oh,
his early days. So he was the lead singer of this group, Manchild.
Hmm.
So it's funny that the sample, when I started listening to it and you hear certain elements, you're like, Then when I saw that, there's an app called Who Sampled. So if you don't,
yeah.
if you're not familiar with that app is amazing. You can sample a song, you can put it on Shazam it, and you can put it on Who Sample has their own engine now where you can, if you hear a song, you can put your phone up to it, it
And
listens
it'll
to it,
it'll tell you
and
what.
it
Yeah.
gives you the song, it gives you the breakdown and who sampled what, and what it even tells you where the sample starts and ends at.
Oh
So
wow.
it's an amazing app. Hey, shout out to technology. But
Right.
Right.
yeah, so that's why I chose that song. So, it's a very dope song. Now we're gonna get to the next question that Trisha Michelle was
My
talking
bad.
about,
My bad.
which
My
is
bad.
very interesting to me. And this was kind of hard for me because I wanted to be very specific, you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to, I was thinking, if I was to produce a song with a 70s and 80s sound, what artist could I go get right now to kind of replicate what we heard in the 70s and 80s? So that's what I went,
Mhm.
I went to. So what current artist do you think would be able to put out good music from the 70s and 80s? Well, if you put them in the 70s and 80s, that they will be able to put out good music back then.
Benji.
I mean, there's a few of them. Chris Brown, easy.
Mm,
Chris
I
Brown,
don't
easy.
think so. No.
mm.
He can sing, bro. He can sing and he can
But
dance.
I
A
mean,
lot of
the
people
sing, the
sing.
sing, the sing, the sing is one thing, but what I listen to about Chris Brown is his tone. If you
Right.
listen to the tone of the 70s and 80s singers versus
It's
the
a little bit
tone that
more
he has
raspy.
now, it really would be a hard fit. So I mean, that's just my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying
No, no,
I
I get
thought
what you're
about Chris
saying.
Brown.
He has a somewhat of a softer
Well, it
style of voice. He
yeah,
ain't
it it
super
it
raspy. You know what I'm
it
saying? So I get it.
yeah, so it didn't really fit to me. But okay, Chris Brown and who else?
Uh,
It was hard. It was hard, but I think I nailed it down.
I mean,
All right,
because I
why you thinking
go ahead, go to the next, because
Trisha
yeah, because
Trisha
I got to
Michelle?
think about the next one.
I got Bruno Mars
Okay. That's what people are saying in the comments.
and I
Hmm.
got Kendrick Lamar.
You know
Number
Okay,
what? That is good. That is good because
yeah,
Kendrick Lamar's style would
he's got
fit
that
very well in the
heavy,
spoken
heavy
word.
fight
Yes,
the
yeah,
power, you
spoken
know.
word, yes, exactly.
he's
Yeah.
transcendent. Yeah,
That's good. I like that, Trisha Michelle. I didn't even think about that. That's
He popped
good.
like I was at work today and I was like, wait,
That is
Kendrick.
good.
And
yeah.
that like I had to add him. Like, no, Kendrick for sure speaks to
Oh
me.
That
yeah,
woman is good. She's
Yes.
good. I like that. I didn't even think of that. I'm telling you, people, this is authentic feedback we're giving. Like, we didn't see each other's lists or nothing. So
right,
what she just said is shocking to me, but I totally get it because I can hear it in my head. I can hear
right.
Mhm.
him doing some
I'm
some
telling you,
some
I'm
yeah.
telling you at work, I was like, oh yeah, that's
Okay.
without a doubt. Without a
Okay.
doubt.
All right. So Benji, you got another person? If you don't,
Yeah.
that's cool. If you don't, that's cool.
I mean, I'm gonna go with one of the chicks I think could do, and
yeah.
that's I don't forgot her name though. So, but she sings a song I don't like living under your spotlight. I forgot what her name is.
Oh, Jennifer Hudson.
Jennifer Hudson. Yeah,
True.
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
I
Jennifer
can see it.
Hudson.
And
Jennifer
that's true.
Hudson can sing in any era.
There's a few females.
Yeah,
Maybe
she could.
maybe Coco Jones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she could sing in it. Yeah, they could sing in any era because of the tone of their voice and
Yeah.
right,
the way that they sing. So yeah, those are
right.
those are good picks.
And
Okay.
she did a couple of Patti LaBelle songs where she
Well, she
kind
was
of
even
really
in the what is that movie with Beyonce? The
yeah
Eddie James and the
yeah
little
Yeah.
yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
yeah, J Hud could definitely if you gave me somebody who I just wanted like to who could kill it vocally and all of that and do all J Hud
Okay.
would
Okay.
get
So
props.
I'm gonna give you mine, but I want to make sure that I mention some of these from the audience right quick.
Yeah.
All right,
Let's
so
see
we
what
got
they got.
Tyrone McAllister. He got Bruno Mars,
Right,
which you
Tyrone.
mentioned. And your sister said, "Yep, the Weekend and Bruno
Weekend.
Mars." So the Weekend was one that was on the border for me because I thought
Actually,
about it.
He definitely could do. What do you think?
that mixture
Disco.
of that like
I thought about it, but I'm like, he wouldn't be considered R&B ish.
he would
He
be
would
like that
definitely, yeah, he would
disco,
definitely have to
He
be
would be
disco,
disco. I would go
yeah,
disco.
he would
Yeah,
be that
yeah,
disco
yeah,
vibe. Like
right.
yeah.
yeah.
So we got Chris
Yeah. Sorry,
Brown. We
Brian's
got
right.
No,
I
he
love
put the
me some
thumbs
Chris
down
Brown.
on. He put a
I love
thumbs
me some
down on Chris Brown.
yeah, I know. I saw it. Okay, then we got Maxwell. This was
Okay,
interesting one right here. He put
Wale.
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 Wale is good. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? For the same reason with Kendrick,
For
because
the
of the
same,
way
yeah.
Wale does a lot of spoken word to start his songs off. If you notice, he does
Yes.
a lot of that.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's definitely
A lot of
one.
people sleep on Wale.
And your sister said Kendrick Lamar has a Pulitzer Prize. That's true.
Look,
That is
speak,
a
speak.
fact. All right. So this is one that a lot of people might not know, but
Sabrina Claudio.
this is right.
Yeah.
She definitely would fit, you know what I'm saying, in the 70s and
My little
80s.
sis.
Her
Hey,
voice. This
she
is
can.
another good one. Jasmine Sullivan.
Jasmine Sullivan. Yes.
Jasmine, but see,
Yeah.
Jasmine Sullivan has always had an old soul. Like when you
Absolutely.
hear her songs, you hear her sing, even when the footage was floating around of her at on Apollo when she was a kid.
Yeah.
She was like 12, but she sounded like a grown woman,
Right.
like belting out those songs. So
Yeah.
she always had an old soul. Now this next one, Tank's my boy, but I don't know. I don't know. He has that Marvin
I mean, he
Gaye-ish.
did come up in the
He has the
70s.
Marvin Gaye-ish
Yeah.
sound, but there's a guy, I forgot his name. It's something London. There's a
London,
guy.
October London. He sounds
Yeah,
just like
October London sounds
yeah.
just like a young Marvin Gaye. So go check him out, October
Ooh.
London.
And he's gonna be in a concert in January out here in Cali. So we might have to pull up on that. I want to see if it's actually him singing and not AI.
Yeah. So let me say this too. It's good that you
I
mentioned
mean,
that.
he sounds too much like Marvin Gaye.
It's good that
You
you
know who
mentioned
brings
that.
the
Like
voice back?
it's crazy how much he sounds like Marvin Gaye.
But it's good that you mentioned that because somebody who calls himself Young Marvin and is one of my favorite artists will fit in this mold too. I didn't put him on my list because I mean, I wanted to go different from that. But Raheem Devine
Yeah.
is one of those guys who has a voice that changed things for me because I was a fan of his and his music, some of the stuff he did. He got a lot of hits. But when I saw him sing in person, hey, that dude's vocals.
Crazy.
Wow.
You want to know?
I just heard his show is boring. That's about it.
You want to know who didn't do well because he didn't exist back then? Common.
Yeah, I mean, Common been, Common
A lot of
fired
people,
for
and I
a
think
while.
he would have got a little bit more like
Common
paid
been
attention
fired for a
to.
while.
I think Common been fired, but Common was so on the conscious tip with his rap.
Right.
That's what
And
I'm saying.
I think,
He was a little too woke.
well, I think for us hip hop fans, like pure hip hop fans, we loved it, right? But the masses didn't receive it because it wasn't, what I'm saying, commercial.
Common
And
was thick with the lyrics.
yeah. So he's been that dude, but it just wasn't commercial. So that's one of those things. But okay, so I got two artists. I got a male and a female. So nobody's mentioned them yet. So I'm glad nobody's mentioned them yet. My first one is Ari Lennox. Ari Lennox, her voice.
Her
is
voice.
when you hear it, it sounds like she stepped out of a time machine. Because
Yes.
it's like this can't be a 20-year-old young lady singing this. She
When she talk about
sounds
that shea butter baby,
yeah,
and then
she
she
sounds
sound
like she stepped out of the 60s, 70s,
mhm,
and her vocals are amazing. And one guy that I knew what nobody gonna have, his name is Lucky Day.
Yeah, Lucky Day.
yeah, I like Lucky Day.
Rose
Lucky
Simone.
Day,
Yeah.
Lucky Day has vocals and range, but it's not, 90s, 2000s, or it's kind of like transcendent throughout the
Yeah.
all. So I picked those two as
Those
some,
are really good ones.
artists that I feel like I could drop in the 70s and 80s, and they
Yeah.
could they could get in the mix and make good music. So
Ari for
yeah,
sure. She's got it, man.
talented,
Tight.
and I love artists like that when they're on something, as soon as you hear them start singing or start rapping,
Insane.
it's them.
Yeah.
It's them. It's not even close. It's not like trying to figure it out or whatever. No, you know exactly who that is when she starts singing. So
Right.
Yeah.
shout out to them. All right. So some other ones that mentioned, it's funny that Alfred Lassen, he mentioned Andre 3000. That's true. Andre 3000 is very spoken wordish in a lot of his stuff as well.
Yeah,
And
Andre
he's been in the public eye lately with the Flute album.
Right.
And
That
it's
joint is charting more than a lot of hip hop albums. I'm just saying.
but okay, here's the question with that album. I know this don't have nothing to do with the 70s and 80s, but we're talking music. So right quick, do you think that album is charting because it's good or because people are just listening to it and streaming it to see what the buzz is about?
Well, I
The
think
buzz.
people listening to it to grab the samples out of it. I mean, you get what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, it,
I'm saying the masses, like the
The
people, because
buzz.
that's how it's
yeah,
on
just
the
the buzz.
charts. It's
Yeah,
on the
just the
charts
buzz.
because people are streaming it.
Yeah,
It's the
just the
buzz. You
buzz
had this
because
dude. This dude created an album with a flute. And so everybody's like, what? There ain't no way the whole album. Ain't no way. I gotta go listen.
right. Ain't no way it's a whole flute album. And then you
And
And
find
the
see,
out
buzz.
it's a whole
and,
flute album.
and see, if I hadn't seen him in person here in Dallas playing the flute, I wouldn't have believed it, right? But I saw him in person playing the flute here in Dallas, walking
Right.
around at Deep Ellum in Dallas. Shout out to people who know about Dallas and know about Deep Ellum. I saw him in Deep Ellum walking around with the flute, playing it, and I'm like, bruh, like it for a hip hop fan. It was disheartening at first. I'm like, my guy, can we get the album? Can we get the album already? What are you doing playing this flute? But at the same
Yep.
time, we
The
as far
artistry
as
behind it, though.
well, that's what I was just going to say. We, as far as hip hop, especially, have to give our artists room to grow, right?
Facts.
Every other music genre gives their artists room to grow and mature and go through
Yeah.
changes and iterations of the music. Not hip hop. We want to hear the
Right.
same thing
Same stuff all the
all the
time.
time. I'm like,
Guns,
no, these
shooting,
artists
women,
change.
money. Yeah.
These
Same
artists
thing.
change, so they're gonna
Right.
talk about different stuff. Same thing when Jay-Z came out with the 444 album. A lot of dudes was like, we don't want to hear that. But I'm like, your credit's bad, and you need to listen to this because he's talking about how to get your credit
He was
straight.
spitting
Right.
some knowledge and some
And you need to listen to something that's gonna help change your trajectory of who you are,
Right.
not
right.
keep you in the same loop of where you are. So that's a
Because he,
bar.
I
Put a
mean,
pin in that.
as a producer, as a person who probably every day, all day hears sounds in his head, like I can imagine him needing to go to a different space and learn a new instrument because that's how you get into it. Your ear hears it, and then you want to learn how to play it, and then that's how you enhance your skills. So
Did he learn it or did he like is this something he been playing since like
he's
you?
been playing for a while. I don't know
That's what
how
I'm saying.
long,
Like, how do we
but
not
he's
know
been playing
like
for a while.
he ain't been knowing how to play the flute? Like, I know how to play the flute.
Like
Nah,
we
he
didn't
been
know, like we didn't know Lil Wayne knows how to play the guitar, and he actually played as a cover
Right.
on a few
And
albums. You get what I'm saying?
it's
yeah,
So
just, it's
nah.
just so he said, you know what? This is what I do. I feel like dabbling in my little flute for a minute. This is something I do.
But see,
So
right,
Andre 3000 has been doing that for a decade. Like
right,
a lot of people think that that's new. Like we've
yeah,
been seeing him walk around here in Dallas because he lives here, or he was living here for a period of time, especially when his child with Erykah Badu was still in high school here. He was
yeah.
living here. So we would see Andre 3000 around town all the time, and he would have this flute.
Right.
So it wasn't anything outlandish, but when the album came, I was kind of blindsided by that. I was like, an album? Really?
I kind of
I
Is
figured
this
expect,
he'd come
all
out with
flute?
I
one.
expected flute features.
I wanted him to play the flute and then spit some bars on top of his
Oh,
own
Yeah,
flute. That would have
over the
been
flute
fire.
instrumental.
features. That's what I said.
Yeah,
Flute features.
yeah, that would have been fire for him to spit over his own flute play.
That's
That
what
would have
I
been
thought.
fire.
That's what
But
I
He
thought.
probably gonna drop. He probably gonna drop an album, another album,
No,
hip
he's
well,
hop
not.
album
he
off of
said
it.
he don't have nothing to rap about no more. He said he doesn't
Yeah, I'm
have
like,
any material. So
I
no.
mean, and the Bears said they wasn't trading Khalil Mack. He ended up getting traded.
nah,
You know, so
I believe Andre 3000, bro.
you know, so funny. The more and more
Like he's been consistent. The stuff, whatever he said, he
He's been
has been
look,
consistent. So
the more
I
and more you look at Erica Badu and Andre 3000, you get how they at one point in time was together because they both are special mind
yeah.
people.
Somebody
He ain't
blame
got nothing else to rap
the
about.
whole flute
He
album
ain't got
on
nothing else to
Erica
rap about. He
Badu.
ain't playing.
Erica Badu was putting that Badu on them
Badu is
boys
he playing?
because boys was wearing plaid and
Plaid and everything.
knickerbockers and high socks and penny loafers and and hats with the little tassel on it.
Somebody said it was a tribute album to Erica Badu.
I am your neighbor.
I'm like
Give me some
the only rapper that didn't change while they was with Erica Badu was Jay Electronica. And
Yeah.
he's just such an odd guy
Yeah, he's just
that
odd. Period.
he literally plays to the beat of his own drum.
Yeah,
He doesn't do anything that you're supposed to do. He is one of the most heralded lyricists
and
in
got
hip hop,
balls
and he just pops up and releases music whenever.
whenever he wants, and don't care about what
No
you think.
promotion, no
Right.
nothing. Just drop an album. And so these
Like you
guys are
got,
weird.
it's like a
man.
miracle. Oh, you got Jay on the album? Jay, all right, cool. Yeah,
Oh.
I know it's gonna be fire.
This is a good one. How did we forget? Childish Gambino.
Childish
Gambino.
Yeah.
Childish Gambino would
job,
definitely
Brooklyn.
fit. Would definitely fit if you dropped him. If you dropped him in the 70s or 80s. And you know what? That dude Donald Glover is so talented. Like with the stuff that he does as far as music, but then he did the TV shows, and he started out as a comedian.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know that. So you go do your Googles. He's got a lot of comedy out there, so you can go see him doing stand-up, and that's where I saw him first as Donald Glover. So when he came out as Childish Gambino and I heard the song, I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie, I was confused.
I'm like, who is this dude? And then I saw the video. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the comedian dude.
Right. I was really confused as to what I was looking at. And then I was like, okay.
But yeah, Atlanta turned out to be one of my favorite shows of all time. So, the dude Childish Gambino is super, super, super talented. So yeah, we definitely forgot about him. So yeah, thank you for that. And Erica Badu, I think somebody mentioned that. I think she could fit in that as well because of her tone, her overall demeanor, and she already dresses like she's in the 70s most of the times.
She
does bring.
She's very earthy. She's very earthy, as they say. Like
I'm telling you, that was one of my best concerts I ever went to.
Yeah, I wish I would have went too, because I saw some footage and I was like, man, I wish I would have went.
Yeah, you saw some footage.
I went to a jazz festival, and she was just headlining, but she took over and turned it into an actual concert. Lights went out, and she still kept going. She went beyond that for over an hour and a half, and turned it into a whole whole thing. It was insane.
Yeah.
Best ever.
Yep. All right. So I think we've given you a good summation of the 70s and 80s tonight. So we gave you some homework. The list that we got your top five from the 90s. That's what we're going to be doing next Tuesday. We're going to be doing it live, 8:30 Central, 6:30 Pacific time.
Yeah.
Make sure you come back, you tap in with us, because we want to see those lists. We want you to do your homework, do your Googles.
Tell your folks.
Yeah.
Give us your
because
goat too. We want to know who y'all goat is.
Yeah.
yeah,
Get
give
your
us your
top
go,
5
give us your
list.
go to
Put it
the
out there.
go to the 90s is gonna be hard though.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's
that's
gonna be
why
hard.
we gonna want to hear everybody. It's gonna be a lot of different answers for that one.
Yeah, it's
So
gonna
I
be
want to hear
hard.
everybody's goat
Yeah,
because
it's definitely gonna be hard because
it's gonna be a lot.
it's gonna be easy for me, but it's gonna be hard for most people because I mean, my
I
90s didn't
mean,
sway. My 90s don't sway. Like,
I started going into 90s when I grew up and
My
growing up
90s
down
went all
south.
over the
It's gonna be
place.
some hip hop in there, kind of stuck
oh
in
yeah, it's
there.
gonna be
So,
hip hop heavy. It's gonna be
oh
hip
yeah.
hop heavy, I promise you. For me, but there's gonna be some songs that I mentioned that people are gonna be like, oh, I ain't even know Big Ken listen to that type of stuff. So that's when I think when I got in high school, when I got around a different crowd of people, and I started to listen to the music that they listen to,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
then I
that's when
started to my music palette started to
To change a little
broaden
bit.
and started to become a little bit more eclectic. So, a lot of the other songs that y'all mentioned before, like some of the pop songs and stuff, I didn't hear it at home. I heard it in the store, like when they
Mm-hmm.
play the music over the store, the store speakers. I was like, oh,
I'm
I heard
done.
Led Zeppelin. I heard Led Zeppelin at Minions the other day, right?
They still got Mignard,
Yeah,
Mignards. They still
Nah,
got
my
Mignards
90s,
down there.
yeah,
Nah,
colorful.
gone, man. Yeah, Minions is
My
gone. A lot
I
of them
can't wait.
stores, man. But yeah, nah, like a lot of the songs that y'all mentioned, like the rock and pop and big hair music and stuff like that from the 80s. I didn't hear any of that stuff in my house at all. If I
See,
heard it, it was somewhere else. Or where I heard a lot of it at because we had cable and I used to watch MTV all the time. So
Yeah,
MTV kind of helped,
played
shit,
all of that,
kind
no
of
doubt.
trying to, it gave eventually MTV was in its inception was kind of like pop heavy and rock heavy. And
Right.
then
yeah,
when Fat Five Freddy came out and they had Yo MTV Raps that
yeah,
exposed you to a lot of different types of rap. You know what I'm saying? That was East Coast heavy and then West Coast shifted and then they put a little South in there. But that was kind of like our beginnings before BET had Rap City and all of the shows
right.
that they had. So those were the things that kind of shaped us and our music taste when we were growing up in the 90s. So those are the type of things that you're gonna hear about us talk about next episode.
I mean,
So bring y'all list, man.
y'all some young bucks though. You know what I'm saying? So I understand.
Bring y'all
Y'all
list.
some young bucks.
Yeah. So the 90s is when we came into our own, you know what I'm saying? We were teenagers and not Trish
Yeah,
Michelle. She was
Young
I
about
bucks.
to
feel
be
Young
about to
bucks.
be some teenagers
yeah.
like later
At
on.
the
She was about to
end
Young
be,
bucks.
of
yeah.
the 90s, I was
Yeah.
turning 13. So
Yeah, so she was entering her teenage years, and we
yes,
were in our high school years, and Benji beyond. So, you know what? I wanted to mention one song before we wrap up that really caught my attention, and I wanted to know you all's feedback on this. It's a
okay.
very interesting song. Shout out to Usher. A lot of people were talking about his show in Vegas. I didn't get a chance to see it. I'm sad about it, but he is going on tour. So I'm gonna go check out the show on tour. But this song, good. That song, good, had a hold of me for a couple weeks because
I
that
still ain't heard
song
it.
is just it is
It's just
reminiscent of a
good
song from
too.
like the 80s or the 90s. It's a vibe, and then he throws Summer Walker on it, who's amazing. I love her music as well.
Mhm.
Yes.
Some
I
of the
still
stuff
ain't
she
heard it.
some
I
of the
gotta
stuff
check it
she
out.
sings about is like okay, but
You gotta get into her other tracks and underground
yeah,
stuff to find out the true
I
summer.
I went through Summer Walker. I went through the whole catalog. I went to
Yeah,
Apple, typed in Summer Walker, and listened to everything. So that's when I became a fan of hers. Very
that's how
talented,
you. Yes,
very
that's how you
talented. So, but then he threw 21 Savage on there, and I'm like,
like 21.
but it worked out. That song, if you have not heard "Good" by Usher, Usher's been one of the most consistent artists over the
Yeah,
past 30 years.
The trends
that
have
is a
not
fact.
swayed him.
That is
that
a
dude
fact.
that dude keeps reinventing himself and keeps becoming relevant again every single time.
That
So
is a fact.
shout out to him. And
Still one of
because
my favorite albums is the Hard to Love album. Yeah, of his.
y'all talked about that
Listen,
before, we'll talk about that.
we're gonna get there, but what I can say, his tactic with throwing 21 Savage on there is appealing to
The
the
masses.
the
Yeah,
masses because they
yeah,
want to hear. So he still captured them, but still,
yeah,
like you said, gave you that 80s 90s vibe still with him in
Mhm.
summer. So he knew what he did. That's why our song still. That's why he's still singing it.
Well, and you know what? And see, we're gonna talk about that next week, and that's when that really started in the '90s, where you had a song that was an R&B song, and you put a rapper on it. Like
Mhm.
everybody was okay, the R&B song, but let a rapper have 8
Right.
bars, 16 bars,
Yeah.
somewhere on there, because you could grab both crowds, right?
Yep.
Right.
Because
Have a
the
blend.
hip hop lovers, they're not really listening to R&B, but if you put the right rapper on it, they're gonna go listen to that R&B song because
Yeah.
that rapper is on it.
And then
So
yourselves.
yeah. So, but yeah, this
Okay.
was fun, y'all.
It was.
70s and 80s. We gave our list tonight. We hope y'all tuned in and enjoyed the conversation. If you missed it, go to our channel on YouTube. The live video from tonight will be available for replay, and
Yes.
you will be able to watch the whole thing. You will be able to see our list. You will be able to see the format, so that next week when we pop back on the air and we got our list for the 90s, you'll be able to have your list too, and you'll be able to rock with us, and we'll be able to have that conversation, because I'm pretty sure the 90s is going to get very interesting.
Man, that's why it's got its own week.
Yeah, the 90s gonna get very, very interesting. So, but we appreciate y'all being live in the comments. It was a lot of great
For
feedback.
sure.
Shout out to Trisha Michelle's family for coming through
Shout
in
out to
full
my
force.
family
You
Yeah.
know
for
what I'm saying?
sure.
We see y'all. We appreciate y'all. She's a gem, and we appreciate y'all letting her, you know what I'm saying, allowing her to join us and do this. So, you know what I'm saying? We
Oh, they
know
ain't
y'all.
had no choice.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. So
But I love that they be tuning in and
yeah,
being a part of
no,
stuff, man. For
That's
sure.
definitely.
dope. That's dope.
Definitely. We definitely love it. So shout out to your fam.
My little sister hopped on and she literally will share the show every week, even if she can't. She always shares like our show on her Facebook. So
And
I
that's
see y'all.
love. That's love. We
Love it.
appreciate
Love it.
that for sure, for sure. All right, so your sister said keep her.
There, yeah, okay.
All right. So before we get up out of here, y'all already know how we do. Trish Michelle, talk to the people before we get up out of here. Let them know where to find you at on social media.
Well, clearly not with my family since they're giving me away. But you can find me on
Getting kicked
Instagram.
to the curb, huh?
Right, just easily. At Trisha Michelle _ YT on Instagram, also on TikTok, YouTube, Trisha Michelle. Of course, as always, Fiyah Session. Y'all better tune in, y'all better subscribe, y'all better do all that because man, like we said, well, this is a 3-part session right here. Like y'all can miss
Facts.
out. Like, don't
Yep.
play with us. Get in here.
Facts. All right. Benji Banks, the man, the brand. Talk to the people, man.
Man, you know what I'm saying? Hey, yo, this was dope though. Kind of let you go back down memory lane a little bit and
When
check
you're
out some of
old.
the songs when I was old. Girl, I'm getting better with age. I'm
When
just
he
saying.
was in his prime in the 80s. You know
You
what
know
I'm
what I'm
talking
saying? I still ain't in my prime yet. We reaching that. But yeah, no, man, y'all can find me, man. We building the Facebook, the IG is built. Then we're gonna start working on the threads. You get what I'm saying? We're gonna build the threads, we're gonna start posting on there. But we're just building all over the place, man. So y'all follow us, check out the show. Share the content, man. We know it ain't we ain't giving y'all the stuff that y'all used to listening to all the time, just relationships, just that we're giving y'all the whole ball. You're giving you different stuff. So
Yeah.
continue to check us out, continue to share, continue to like it. When we post it, go hit that notification, go check us out. You'll be able to come get some of this good content. So keep following.
Facts. Y'all already know y'all can catch me at Big Ken's Comedy on IG, Big Ken's Comedy on Twitter, Big Ken's Comedy on Facebook. Y'all can catch the Fiyah Session on all social media platforms. Just type in FIYAH Session and we will pop right up. Go to YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button, as Trisha Michelle said, so you won't miss any content that we post, whether it's live, whether it's shorts, whatever we post on that page, you will receive a little ding
Facts.
notification. So you won't miss anything, right? So we want you all to keep tapping in with us because we built this show to have audience participation. And there are
Facts.
going to be some changes coming in the future because we've seen some people in the audience that want to call in, they want to get really interactive, and we working on some stuff that will allow that to happen. But until then, you can get in the comments, you can tell us, and we will try to get it on the screen, right?
Facts.
So the more interesting you are, the more likely I'm gonna see it when I'm flipping through these comments. Because I ain't gonna lie, y'all, sometimes they come in pretty fast, but if something stands out and I see it, I try to put it on the screen. So we appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. Y'all keep coming back, keep checking with us.
For
The
sure.
Friday session. Y'all already know how we do it. Peace.
Solid.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow us on all social media platforms. Just search Fiyah Session.